The 6 o'clock Rock Report. Radio Nova.
Did you know that there is an Irishman that plays on David Bowie's new album? Not only does he play on David Bowie's new album the next day, he is David Bowie's right-hand man on this thing. He's the only other person that gets a writing credit on the album the next day. His name is Gerry Leonard. He's from Clontarf. He lives in New York, and we spoke on Radio Nova's Rock Report. Strangely enough, we started talking about scouting, as we were both in Scouts in Clontarf.
And they all left, so I became assistant patrol leader, and I had the shirt, but I hadn't done any of the tests, you know.
Oh, man, I hate it. What were they called? Merit badges.
The merit badges, yeah.
I was assistant patrol leader, then I was patrol leader in the 66th. And anyway, listen, never mind that. How does a lad from Clontarf, from Dublin, end up in New York and then eventually taking the same spot as big names like Mick Ronson, like Stevie Ray Vaughan, Earl Slick? The names go on and on. You are David Bowie's right-hand man.
Oh, cheers. Thanks, Marty. Yeah, I don't know. How did that happen?
Well, you tell me, but that's one of my questions.
Yeah. You know, one thing leads to another, I would have to say. You know, I certainly grew up in Clontarf, and I had bands all through the 70s and the 80s, and finishing with Hinterland, a band signed to Island Records in the late 80s and the 90s. And when that finished up, I was like, I gotta make a break for it. I gotta change it up. So I moved to New York and just started working as a guitar player over there. And, you know, I met some artists, and they introduced me to some other people, and one thing led to another, and I worked with somebody who was David's producer and MD at the time, and he got David to come down and see me play with my band in a little tiny club, and David was looking for a guitar player, and that's kind of how it happened, you know.
So before you know it, David has... Did you audition for David Bowie, or did he just, I like this guy's style, let's bring him in?
Yeah, no, I did a few things. I played on a few tracks. That was initially my friend Mark had got me into said, do you want to do an ambient guitar track on this David track I'm working on? I'm like, yeah, I do. So I did that. And then I did a few other recordings. And then David I guess he was looking for somebody to cover the more kind of ambient guitar styles, like your Robert Fripp's and your Adrian Belew's and, you know, those kind of guys. And he was like, can Gerry rock? That was the question, apparently, to Mark. And then it was, they came down and saw my little gig, which was amazing. It was really nerve-wracking. And then he came and saw it, but I think he liked it. And then he asked me for a tryout, to come back and do a tryout for the band. And then before I knew it, I was playing my first shows with him, which was the Roseland Ballroom here, and then Royal Festival Hall in London.
Wow.
Yeah.
When you look at David Bowie, who's standing beside you or in front of you, do you have to pinch yourself sometimes to think, oh man, here I am doing this?
Yeah, it's a trip, you know, because I'm a fan of David's music, and then I got to meet him and work with him, and you know that changes the relationship, because now he doesn't want somebody staring at him like a fan. He wants somebody to come in and play the guitar
and be professional,
you know,
right? Yeah.
You know, to back him up. So, you know, and it's always terrific working with him. And he's such an incredible live performer that, you know, you really feel like, you know, he's got such fire and such, you know, power on stage that it, you know, it really ups your game. I think you just feel like you're just hanging on, you know. Forget about the pinching. It's just like, okay. You know,
is he a taskmaster? What sort of a boss is he?
He's great. He's really great because what's great about him is he wants you to be yourself in a sense. He doesn't want to kind of shoehorn you into anything. He has something in mind for you, and that's why he hires you, and he wants you to cover the stuff that you know, he'll kind of indicate to you whether it's songs or parts or whatever, or just a general idea, or sometimes none, like, okay, do something. But he gives you the start and he gives you the end, and then you know, it's up to you to fill in the middle. And that's the greatest way to work as a musician or an artist is to have that kind of feeling of that you can bring your own creativity to to whatever it is. I also have a lot of respect for the guys who've come before me as guitar players. So, if it's something that's like if it's a Mick Ronson part that's really right on the money, I don't want to mess with that. I just want to play that part. It's so much fun to play that.
So you wouldn't change it up at all. You would do it. You would be the Mick Ronson for that moment. You would play it as he played it.
Yeah, I try and get into the shoes of the guy who's playing it, or if it's a Robert Fripp part, I'll try and honor that as best I can because I think that's what the fans want, and I think that's what the music respects,
and deserves, right?
You know what I mean? And then if it's something new, then it's great. Then it's kind of like I can bring my own stuff to the table. You've
said as well that you mentioned there about David being a tremendous live performer. Do you think it's 50-50? You said before. Do you still stand by that on whether he'll tour this album?
Well, it's an Irish 50-50, Marty.
Right, okay.
We can change sides at any minute, and I'm not going to tell you which is 50 and which is the other 50. It's got to be relevant to him, and they did quote me on that, but it was a little bit naughty of Rolling Stone, really, because I said it in the context of another thing, which was it's got to be relevant to David at the moment, and I think what's relevant to him now is the making of the record. Somebody said it to me the other day. Said, "Well, which would I prefer? A David to go out live or for David to make a new record?" He was kind of asking that of himself, and he said, "Well, he'd prefer a record than a tour." So, I think we got the record, and we've got these nice little movies, and. Look, the band would, in a heartbeat, would love to get back up with David and start playing some live shows. Okay. So we just gotta hang on to ourselves.
You are the only other person who got a writing credit on this album. I'm right in that, aren't I?
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Okay. Yeah. How does it feel to be up there and responsible for how the world reacted to the dropping of the single, the dropping of the album, the announcement, the way the announcement came? Are you very proud of everything you've achieved?
I got to say, I am proud. I am proud, Marty, and it was quite a thing there for a while. I mean, it's still out there, and now we can talk about it. The thing was, it all happened in a sense, a few years ago. Most of it happened in 2011 for me. So when the record came out this year, I'd almost forgot. I was like, did I dream it, or did it really happen? But it's tremendous that he's back, and it was pretty cool. He came and visited me. I live a little upstate New York now, and up at the kind of Woodstock area, and he came. He was up visiting, and I was always inviting him over for coffee. So one day he took me up on it, and he said, come over, and have you got a drum machine? We'll write something,
Wow.
So that was incredible.
Yeah.
That was incredible. So, I got some good espresso beans in and some biscotti, and he came over.
That sounds great.
We started to write a song.
That's not a bad way to spend an afternoon hanging out with David Bowie at your house.
No, it's
tell me this.
Absolutely not.
Very quickly, you're going to be back in Ireland at the weekend. You're back in for Easter. You're going to be on the TV here on Saturday night.
Yeah. The very nice people are having me on the Saturday night show on Saturday night. And then I'm going to do a guitar workshop out in X Music. I thought it'd be good to just try and do something while I'm over. So from 5 to 7 on Sunday, it's Easter Sunday.
That's Easter Sunday, yeah.
If you have the dinner a bit early, you could get out.
Yeah.
Some of these guitar guys could get out. Anyway, it's going to be just a chat. I'm going to play a bit. I'm going to talk about my work with David. I'm going to talk about my work with Suzanne Vega and working as a New York, and answer a few questions and that kind of thing, and it should be a nice night.
That will be a very nice night. X Music is a great spot. They have a great live area for that kind of thing that you're doing there. That's X Music. Yeah. It's Easter Sunday, and it's between 5 and 7. Gerry, it's so great to catch up. Thank you so much for your time, and safe flight when you come on in for Easter, all right?
Oh, thanks, Marty. Cheers. I really appreciate it.